Preparing. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy new week. Hope you're doing amazing. We've had a massive weekend here. It's been a hot and steamy weekend in Melbourne, but a great one. Next to me, I have got the gorgeous Joanne Copeland, who lives just not too far away from here. Where do you live, Jo?
I'm in Eltham.
You're in Eltham, yeah. So literally 5 minutes away. Jo and I got to meet through my publications manager, Vivian. They were friends, right? And she's done her book. Vivi inspired her. We were just talking about that before we went live. So let me share a little bit about who Joanne is and what we're talking about today. First of all, let me share the book. Here it is. Footsteps of Two, Never Give Up, One Mum's Journey with Twins on the autism spectrum. So that's exactly what we're talking about here today, Jo. So let me give them the official introduction and then we'll get stuck into your story. So you were an executive assistant. So guys, Joanne was an executive assistant, an auditor, then a stay-at-home mum who worked part-time when she could as an integration aide or in administration roles. So she's a mother of 4 with girl-boy twins who were diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. Joanne has written her book to share knowledge, hope, and inspiration with her readers. Her story is raw, personal, and hides no emotion with the highs and lows faced when lives are turned upside down. Always being there for her children was her first priority. So Joanne has had to give so much more of herself to find ways to support twins Zalie and Flynn to be the best they could be. Not forgetting she was also a mother to Bryce and Anaye. Anaye, sorry. She's got very funky names for her gorgeous children. And they're all 5 letters. I know.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Was that
it was on purpose, yes.
Yeah. Same as mine, because mine are all 4 letters. Her book guides readers to be positive and strong, to realize anything is possible when you find the right path. All right, Jo. Well, let's talk about your life and what's been going on and what culminated to the point of you saying, I want to put this in a book.
Well, thanks, Nat. I appreciate that lovely introduction. I've, as I said, as you said, I'm a mum of 4, and my journey to write this book began, many years ago when my twins were diagnosed with autism. It was overwhelming. It was something that took me a while to process, and then we evolved, and I've helped and I've worked with them over 18 years, and I've seen 2 individuals grow. And in that time, I thought to myself, I have learned so much. There's so many things I've tried that haven't worked. The things that have inspired me, things that have not worked. They're both so different. I have a lot of information in here I want to share with people.
Yeah.
And I had a girlfriend, Vivian, who is your publications manager, who had written a book. And it's something I'd always wanted to do, but finding the inspiration, the confidence to do it was something that she supported me to do. And so it's probably a good 3 years I've been thinking, I really, at some point in my life, want to write a book. And when that moment actually comes, it's sort of like, yes, I'm ready now. I've got support. People are encouraging me. Let's put it in a book. Let's put it in a story. Let's help other people who may have a journey with autism or with some other issue in life when they feel overwhelmed. They think there's walls in front of them. It's difficult, but there is ways. So my book is what it says: find your way, believe in yourself, and you can do it with the right support, guidance, and understanding.
Yeah, I love that. And I always say to my authors or people who want to write a book, you have lived through something and now you have tools or shortcuts that other people don't have to waste time to figure out for themselves, because
exactly.
For 18 years, someone might be just starting out with a 2-year-old themselves.
Yes.
Diagnosed. So
yes.
Through a little bit of your journey and how that was in the beginning and how it's evolved and what did you learn?
Well, for me, my book I actually wrote from the point of preconception of my twins. So I even went back to at the time when I was actually trying to get pregnant with a second child, and I became pregnant with twins. And for me, up until the age of 2, I didn't know they had autism. I thought everything was as it should be, as my firstborn son was. Everything was going along. And then suddenly I just noticed a few things that weren't quite as I'd seen with my other son. And I became a little concerned, thought maybe it's just me. And I had a grandmother who also had twins, and she said to me, Joanne, it's okay. My son or daughter didn't talk, my twin boys didn't talk till they're age 4. And I said, no, I think something's not right here. My daughter's not looking at me like she used to. She's looking through me. She's suddenly not answering to her name. It's like she's in her own world. And then I noticed a few repetitive things my son was doing. So at that point, I thought I need to investigate this further. I went to my pediatrician, had a bit of a chat. He brought up the word autism. And back then, 17 years ago now, it wasn't a word that I was overly familiar with. I'd hardly heard of it. I didn't actually know what it was. And it became a complete shock. And I started, back then, Googling was not done on your iPhone or your laptop late at night. I had an old computer downstairs in my study, and I looked it up, and I started to I became scared. I was worried. I thought, wow, there's things being brought up here that I've never heard of.
Yes.
But I moved on from that. I had to get further diagnosis to have it all confirmed. That all took about 4 years. Wow. But in that time of 4 years waiting for a diagnosis, official, I thought, I can't just stop and wait for to be told what I can see is actually going on. I need to act now. I need to be proactive. I need to find how I can best support them. So I was given information, and I just took it all on board and thought, if I can't be strong, I can't work through this, then what hope are they going to have? So my big deal was acceptance. I had to accept that there was something that wasn't as it should normally be in a typically developing child. Something here was different for both of them, and they were both very unique in what their issues were at that time. And then I had to also move through acceptance. If you can't accept that something's happening to you, you can't move forward. You can't say, all right, I've got to work with this. I've got to understand where I can best help them. And then with part of acceptance, I had to then show understanding and consideration to them that they needed me to be fully on board with it all. So it was hard. So then we went through the process of early intervention, taking them to specialists, diet changes, a lot of overwhelming things. And then the support of preschools and integration aides right through primary, secondary school, and then now they're 18. I've had to access a lot of things differently, but always believing in them that they could do what everyone else can do, and finding a way to make that happen, which was the hardest thing. And for there's many parents who takes them a while to understand autism. So I hope with my book, it just gives you that heads up to say, look, what you're seeing is perfectly normal. Try this, try that, and you may have some success, as I did. Every autistic child is unique, though.
Yeah, they're quite different. And are they different from one another?
Yes, they're very different in the sense my son was able to attend a mainstream school for his whole life, though he had an aide through primary, and then into secondary school, he had an aide for his academic subjects. He is a lot more social, has a bit of anxiety as well, but is a lot more verbal than my daughter. He amazingly, a program we did when he was very young, I had him toilet trained in 2 weeks. Now, with the support of the right people and a picture exchange communication system that we developed, and I helped him with, though his verbal words weren't strong when he was younger, we communicated with pictures. Yes. Same with my daughter. She has achieved everything that her brother has achieved. It's just been a bit harder for her. Her verbal skills and social skills aren't as strong. She attended a mainstream primary school until grade 4, and then she went off to what you call a special school. So there's 3 levels of schooling in Australia. You've got a mainstream school, a special school, and then a special development school. So she attended a special school. It's for many children who just can't quite work in a large classroom. There'll be 12 children in the class, a teacher and an aide. She went right through to year 12. Both of them are now driving. So my son achieved his license when he was 18 and a half. I've written about that in my book. We did a different teaching approach to teach him how to get his learners. And my daughter has now done 130 hours of driving, and she's well on her way to achieving her license this year. So for me, I'm giving hope in this book to many people that what you think is unreachable is actually not unreachable. It is achievable. There are ways. You just need to find your way and tune into what actually works for your child. If they're a visual learner, teach them that way. Okay. Not everything in the world has to be academic. My daughter, for example, academics are not her thing, but she's a gifted artist. So her creative mind is brilliant. So I've understood that and worked with that with her. Everyone has their talent. It's just finding their talent.
Everyone has a different genius zone. And and what I can hear from what you're saying is don't ever give up, like try this and try that. And, kind of you'll find your way. And I sense a huge, trait of determination within you to have.
Yes, trait, determination, you're right. And commitment. You must be committed. Look, plenty of times, like all of us, I fell off the rails. It's okay to have your moments and go, wow, why have I been given something in life that at times feels so challenging? But when you have a child with special needs, the rewards are so much greater when they achieve something. I mean, how many times I've cried because of happiness and achievement, I've lost track of. And that's what's beautiful. And my son and daughter are the kindest, most placid. Many children, adults with autism have a natural empathy that is, they're never not mean to people. They don't know how to be mean. They don't have this. They don't bully. They're kind. They're inbuilt kindness, and it's finding that strength that they have, and that helps you to work with them. And if you have determination and commitment, then they will have commitment and determination to follow through with what you want them to do.
Yeah, like that famous saying, be the change you want to see in the world. You need to have those traits, and then you can see them.
Yes. Yes.
A few comments are coming through that what you're sharing is very interesting, and thank you. And Vivi is just watching you as well, saying very happy to have been on your journey and all that sort of stuff. So you're inspiring others, which is, exactly what you said. I think sometimes when something is really hard to achieve, I think in our everyday lives, when we do get it, the reward is that much more. And what up from what you're saying, the milestones your kids would have hit,
it's been harder to get there. I mean, even learning to tie a shoelace. Now that if for many children is a challenge. I specifically had one of our carers. We had a lot of carers come into our life, supported by the NDIS Council many years ago, before the NDIS was in existence. And I specifically set a project for one of my carers. Can you please teach my daughter or assist me to help her tie her shoelaces and tie her hair into a ponytail? Now, for many children, they can tie hair in a ponytail at 4 or 5. My daughter didn't achieve that till she was 9, but she achieved it. That double handling, the brush, pulling it up, it was amazing. Myself and my carer cried the day she did her own ponytail. The day she learned to tie her shoelaces was so special, because it's like, wow, okay, we're maybe 4 years behind, but what a typically developing child would do it, but we've done it. And that's the same with every milestone that we've reached. So yes, I've had to give a lot of myself, but there's support out there, and there's so many people willing to help you, and so many people will love your child as much as you do, because they appreciate those milestones being reached. And everyone loves it when someone achieves. They just love it.
Yeah. I know I've got the achiever pattern within me. So whenever I'm achieving, I see, we're moving forward, and, that's what brings happiness. I think I read it in a book somewhere, but they say happiness comes from solving problems.
Yes.
And the more problems we can solve, the happier we feel. And that's that sense of achievement, which comes greater when the challenge is bigger. Yeah?
Yes, it does.
See how you have reframed this for yourself wonderfully, because some people could completely go on a different tangent. I think in life you either choose I'm going to live above the line, and I'm going to be proactive and determined and persistent and accept and all that, and other people can see it as a problem. Why me? All that kind of stuff. So what would be the message? What would be the message to those people who are feeling like, they're
feeling overwhelmed? They're feeling like, why me? Why's it happened? Why? I would take it as, it sounds a bit cliche. It's happened for a reason. You don't think you can change or support or help, but you can. There was many times where in my early days, I thought, before I knew a lot about autism, I could, my word was, I could fix this. I could change this. I could cure this. That's just silly. My son and daughter, their brains are just wired differently. That's all it is. Yeah. My son is the most beautiful child. He will hug me, even at age 19, 4 or 5 times a day. Not everyone is like that, but he is. And it's lovely to see he has such a caring nature. So I would say to people, the message I take in any situation, you can't change it completely. You have to work with what you've got, what you've been given, and see the positive sides of it. See the beauty within the person and their uniqueness. I know it's easy to want to give up, and there's many times I've laid in bed at night and I've had a bit of a cry and gone, wow, I'm worn out today. Are we ever going to achieve our goal? And then I think, hang on, if I fall off the wagon, what's going to happen to my twins? Who is going to be there to pick me up? You'll have family, you'll have support, but predominantly there's a main person, and that's always been myself, to support them. And it's okay to have down days, but you can make such a difference to their lives if you try and stay as positive and get people in to help you and get support. And in my book, you will see we've had such unique, special moments. Sometimes when my children say something and they word it differently, everything's very black and white in our world. You can't twist your words. Sometimes you'll say a joke, they won't get it, but you learn to say things in the right way. And when they say something that's so unique, it's just, it brings you to tears. A special little thing that happened with my son many years ago. We were driving in the city, and there was a tram in the city of Melbourne, and on the tram it said Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. It was advertising the city of Melbourne. And I was explaining to him what that meant. He goes, well, what's on the tram? I said, well, we live in Victoria. Melbourne's a capital city, and Victoria is a state of Australia. So he was about 9 at the time, and he took it on board. And then he looked at me, and I thought, I'm really going to have to explain this properly when I get home. And he said, well, Mum, what's if Melbourne's a capital city, what's the lowercase city? Do you get it?
Yeah.
So I'm explaining city and places, and he's thinking capital letters and lowercase letters. So if Melbourne's a capital city, what's the lowercase city? And it was just a priceless moment. And I sat there, looked at my 9-year-old, goes, wow, look how your mind works. Yes. So beautiful little moments like that. And there's been many over the years. Yeah. You just appreciate, okay, everything's in there. It's just wired a bit differently. You just have to explain it a different way.
Yeah, I love that. I think you get those moments with kids.
You do.
It's such a literal understanding of what things are or what they mean. That's really cool. I love that. So what's the future hold? Like, tell me a little bit about what's their life going to be like moving forward, and what are the goals?
Okay, so we've gone through schooling. My son's completed year 12. My daughter's completed year 12, both in their different ways. So my boy was at a mainstream high school, and he did year 12, but he didn't do exams. He couldn't do the exam. There was no no 3,000 word essays being written here, no trigonometry. He very hands-on. He did the English and maths. He got a year 12 pass, and that was such an achievement to work through with your peers. So he has left school. He has his license, which I've written about in my book, how we achieved that. He has now got a part-time job, and he's heading off to TAFE to do, he loves working with his hand. He's doing furniture making at TAFE. He has a part-time job at a local cafe, and he has his license, and he does his best to hang out with his friends on the weekends like any 18-year-old would. 19 now, they just turned 19 about a week ago. My daughter has finished year 12. She's a local artist, so she actually designed our local MP's Christmas cards this year. Vicky Ward, our local MP. So my daughter has been exhibiting her art now since she was 12 years of age.
Wow.
So that is something I've really focused on with her, and I'm now getting a lot more support from NDIS and different people to help me nurture that within her. So she's exhibited at Montsalvat here, which is in Eltham, and many cafes. Her work appeared in a book in America, her artwork. She's sent her artwork off to India to an autism conference. So it's been everywhere. So she's completed year 12. She's aiming to get her driver's license this year, and she's off to a TAFE course called Ignition Theatre, which she'll be studying set design, costume making, because her artistic side extends into dress design, makeup, anything visual artistic. So she's doing that, and it will help with her speech and communication. There's drama and acting in that course as well. So, and she's working towards getting a part-time job this year also.
Wow, I love that. I love how you've always, played a big part in helping them achieve these goals, and exactly what the future holds. And when you know what that vision for the future is, you can slowly chip away and get to it.
I think with any 18 or 19-year-old, no one really knows exactly what they want to do in life. I certainly didn't. So we're at the stage of, we're trialing things. If it doesn't work, that's why I say to the kids, if it doesn't work, if you go to your TAFE course and you don't like it, that's okay. We will find other avenues. If you start your part-time job and it's not the type of job you want, we can look for another one. And I've found the NDIS has been a great support to us since that's been introduced in Australia. My son is working his part-time job, and he wants to do more front of house work. So I've actually brought someone in who works at the cafe, who will now be supporting him to do more front of house work. So and then I think the next thing we'll be stepping into, which will be interesting, which might be my second book, is relationships. Relationships. And I mean, my son and daughter are like anybody else. They want relationships in their life. They want to see themselves with people in the future. But how we tackle that is a little bit different.
Yeah, totally. Definitely interested in what that would be, what that's from that perspective, and I love our publications assistant Julie also has been raising a child with Down syndrome, and I know you guys you kind of remind me of how resourceful you both have been to find the support, to utilize the NDIS, to have the carers who are going to come in and pitch in and do all the, do activities and help with the achievement of the goals. So congratulations. So let's talk about you went through just as a publishing only author in the program, and you had Vivi who was there to inspire you and to guide you and all that sort of stuff. How did you find the process? I often like to ask, because often the best way a first-time author goes through the program is that when they do the full retreat and they're there with the community and all that. How did you do the writing? Did you set aside a certain amount of time every week, or talk to me a little bit about your at-home process, because we don't get to see or work with you guys until the book's ready when you're publishing only, right?
Yes, I understand completely. What I found most interesting was in writing a book, there's so much more to it than just putting your words on paper, which is why I'm so thankful I've had yourselves to work with. Ultimate 24-Hour Author has been a fantastic support to me. I actually had a part-time job, and it finished in lockdown of 2020. I decided I wasn't happy there anymore. The work circumstances had changed, being in lockdown. And I thought, look, now I'm going to write my book. So I allocated, I tried to allocate time every day, but ended up being maybe 3 or 4 times a week where I'd sit down, I'd zone in, and I'd write for a couple of hours. And that's why I could give it. And I'd do my best to have everyone else in the household at that time utilized. I didn't tend to do a lot of late night writing. It was always more during the day when I was awake. And you've really got to be in a zone when you're writing, I find. You really have to block everything else out. So the discipline for me was making sure I did it 3 or 4 times a week, and then not being scared to, there's a few times where I felt lost for words, and that's when I would contact yourselves. I'd contact Viv, Julie, and I'd say, look, I'm having a bit of a block here. Chat to me about how I find a bit more inspiration. How does this sound? So I wrote the book basically over a 12-month period.
Cool.
And I was happy with that. Initially, I thought, I can do this in 6 months. That's not the case. So I wrote it over a 12-month period. And then there was probably a 3-month process of editing, going to publishing, designing your front cover. And I could not have done any of that without the support of...
It really is key when even me, in the first 7 or 8 books, I hired someone with publishing package to help me go through all the stages once the words were down on paper.
Yes.
I think that's really key if you want a professional looking product. Otherwise, you could attempt something, and ends up looking like it's been done in a bedroom.
No, that's right. And you don't appreciate how involved it actually is and how much support you need. I could see why many people would sit on a book for 5 or 6 years if they didn't have the support of everyone who works with yourself, Nat, because what I found even more wonderful was when I had moments of, I'm going to ask a dumb question here because I just don't understand something. No matter how many dumb questions I asked, no one ever said anything. They said, look, we've all asked those dumb questions before. Yes, you've asked that question before, but I understand why you want it, reworded a different way so you understand it. And still, even now, I contact and say, what do you think about this? It was through your support that I was able to have my webpage designed. You put me on to Nick, and he's wonderful. So I'm ever so grateful, and it gives me inspiration to think, okay, when I'm ready to write that next book, I'll have the confidence and the support to do it.
Yeah, you know exactly how to. It's so much easier the second time. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, good. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, because you know what to expect, and it's great. What I'm hearing is that consistency once again. In 2 or 3 times, or 3 or 4 times, if and it's not about perfection. I'm glad that you said, I thought I was going to do it every day, but I didn't.
No, that's right.
And that's not about that. I actually, even my first book was twice a week, 2 hours a week. So 4 hours all up, but consistently. Yes. And I had it done in the 3 months that I wanted. Like, it was kind of like 7 pages a week or whatever. I just did all the maths around how long it would take me. But it's great to hear that, you kind of stuck it out and you sat down, zoned out, and just made sure everyone's had something to do so they didn't distract you.
Well, this is it. And come school holidays, well, there was couple of weeks there where I wouldn't write because everyone's home. And it was difficult, but I thought, you know what, that's fine. Having a little break there, you're not gonna fall off the wagon. It'll be fine. And then everyone goes back to school. Excuse me. Everyone goes back to school, and it was. Yes.
So let me show everyone your book once more. Here we go, guys. Footsteps of Two. And as Joanne was mentioning just before, her website is Joanne Copeland, like her name that you can see here, spelled at the top, .com. And you can literally just click on the button and get a copy so that you can use the full. We've got Zalie's art.
There's some of Zalie's art there too, yes. And her website's actually coming out soon with her art, which will be very exciting. Something I've really wanted to do for her for a long time.
Oh, I love it. Oh, there she is. Beautiful. Well, there's the website, guys. So joannecopeland.com. For those of you that might be listening to this as a podcast, and Footsteps of Two is the book. You'll be able to also find the book if you searched it on Amazon. It's on there as well. But I'm sure if you ordered it directly from Joanne, she'll even sign it for you and send it across. So it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you more and, finding a little bit more behind the scenes of a life of a mum who's raised two amazing children with autism and that are thriving. It just sounds absolutely wonderful what you have done with them. And as I can see, it's truly rewarding, and you've seen and found all the blessings within.
I have, Nat, and that's what I really want people to understand with my book. In my book, I've been honest when there's really been hard moments, and everyone's entitled to really feel like you're struggling at times, but my book is positive, and it says you will find a way. If you believe, you can do it. And I encourage people to read it. And it's not just autism, it's anything in life you've been dealt with. Many mums have children who might have cerebral palsy or so many different things. Yes. So I really feel strongly that you have to have faith in yourself, and they will follow.
I love that. Well, on that note, I wish you all the best, and I'm sure we'll see each other sooner rather than later, seeing you just around the corner. And I wish you every success in, getting this story out there to others who'll benefit.
Thank you, Nat. I really appreciate your time today. Bye.
Bye, guys, and smash it out for the week.